Welcome into the Coach Esposito Postgame Show, sponsored by Sports and Wellness in Danbury. Coach Esposito, the Whalers pull out a 4-3 victory. It's a big win for third place. Well, what was it that got the job done tonight?
Well, I think the guys were a little bit bitter about what happened last night. I think they all realized that we let one get away last night that we shouldn't have. And the guys were a little bit, PO'd, pissed off pretty much at what happened last night. I mean, they know I wasn't happy last night with some of the things that went on in the locker room last night after the game. So they weren't to the point where they kind of knew what they had to do tonight. They knew how they had to come out, and they knew what we were going to be in for with a dogfight tonight with this team. I mean, that team over there, 1,000 rounds, there's a reason why they're in second place. I mean, I know they've had their problems in the past year, but they got some really good players over there, and that goaltender, Matt Anthony, is a pretty good goalie, just like Peter. He kept them in the game tonight. I mean, we had a lot of good opportunities that he was able to kind of trounce on and stop. So just one of those things, the guys knew what they had to do. The guys knew they had to play hard. The guys knew they had to take the body, and we got it done tonight.
The Whalers certainly did, and one of the big plays late was Matt Carenzi diving on the puck with a 6-on-4 during the late man advantage after the Sanford hit. First of all, it looks like the guys were playing a good physical game, and the penalties were called, maybe if they stepped over the line a little bit. We'll get to that later. But let's talk about Matt Carenzi's play and that really smart decision to just dive on the puck.
Well, Matty's one of those kids that's been working. He's been here all year. He's been working hard, and he hasn't gotten his real shot because we've had so many different injuries and call-ups and everything else. And he's kind of like in and out of the lineup sometimes, and now he's back in for good. He stepped in for Kelly Miller now. I mean, obviously everybody knows that Kelly's suspended now, so Kelly's usually the guy that we call on to take all those face-offs. And Carenzi's come in the last 3 or 4 games and done that job for him. And tonight was unbelievable. I mean, he made some really key face-off wins in our own zone, get the puck out right away. Some real key face-offs on the PK because, obviously, once again, we're in Danbury, and with some of the referees, we're always on the PK. But, it's one of those things that, he's done really well, and he's really concentrated on, he's worked on, and he's mastered now. So it's nice to have him, and when we get Kelly back in the playoffs, we'll have 2 of those guys to help us win draws going down the stretch. So, I mean, it was huge tonight. I know the guys gave him the hard hat player of the game tonight for his play, for what he did in the face-offs and stuff like that all night long for us. So, he really deserves it. I mean, he's a good kid. He works hard, and he did an unbelievable job tonight.
Yeah, that was a really smart play there. And finally, 6 penalties to kill. The Whalers were 5 for 6 on the PK, despite giving up the late goal that really didn't matter too much. At the end of the game, we saw you. It appeared that you were eschewing referee Derek Wozniak. Without saying anything that could draw a further suspension, can you shed some insight into that discussion without using too much salty language?
Marco, you're really trying to bait me now, aren't you? So I'm going to just decline to comment on that whole situation for a reprieve and not having to watch another game from the luxury boxes.
Well said, Coach. Good job tonight. 4-3 win by the Whalers. We'll be back with our player of the game.